I'm here at the summit of Mauna Kea in Hawaii, where scientists have made a remarkable discovery in collaboration with Google Maps scientists at the Sydney office. Now, this is really quite startling. By studying the Earth's position and rotation relative to other celestial bodies, including the Sun, Moon, and Alpha Centauri, some of the closest stars to the Earth, what we've actually found is that the declination of the Earth, also known as its tilt, is slipping a little bit. We're seeing some modification in that. And the effective result, the upshot of it is that the equator is effectively moving. Now, the equator is that point above which in the autumn and spring equinoxes, the sun is directly overhead at 12 noon. What we're finding is that point is moving further and further south. Now, a certain amount of variability in the Earth's orbit and rotation is to be expected. There are cycles called the Milankovitch cycles, after the man who worked out how the Earth was wobbling on its axis with various periods, including 40,000 years and 100,000 years. So a certain amount of variability is expected. What's strange here is how fast the change is occurring. By current estimates, the models that we're seeing, they are looking to have the equator slip as far south as the tip of Cape York, the northernmost part of Australia, by the year 2055. And that, I think, is really the phenomenal part of this story, because it looks like Australia could become a Northern Hemisphere country. And that raises all sorts of questions about whether perhaps they would do better in the Winter Olympic Games, for example. That's one thing that's considered. What would you call the seasons? Would you still label them? Is it still summer in January? Because if part of Australia is in the Northern Hemisphere, of course, that is subject to change. And I think this is going to cause a lot of confusion. Migratory patterns of birds, we're already seeing them be disrupted by this shift. So it is something that scientists are watching very closely. Now, the best explanation that we have is that there must be some asymmetry in the density of Earth's mantle. So what is happening under the crust, under Earth's crust, is that molten mantle undergoes convection currents where the hotter rock rises up and the cooler rock drops back down. Now, what seems to be happening here is that an area of really dense rock may be dropping down, which is changing the moment of inertia of the Earth. And that really is what is affecting the spin. It is rotating in a completely different way now to how it used to, and that is really what we're seeing, I think, alter the tilt of the Earth, and ultimately that means shifting the equator, and that is the kind of thing that people really care about. We have been used to countries being separated into Northern and Southern Hemisphere for thousands, ever since human civilization, really. We have known who's in the North and who's in the South. But now that line is becoming blurred, and as you know, blurred lines are a problem, and scientists are doing what they can to try to eliminate any kind of doubt about what's going to happen. So as we look out towards 2055, we are probably going to see Australia become a Northern Hemisphere country. Really, what this means for all the people living there remains to be seen. For me, I quite like it because I was born in Australia but raised in Canada, and now I feel like my country, Australia, will straddle those lines. It'll be both north and south, and I think ultimately that's a beautiful thing.